morning, everyone. We're very excited to talk about friendship with God this morning, and that we can be friends with God, and He has chosen to be friends with us, which is just amazing. And based on a couple of verses in John 15, and I'm just going to read one of the first verses, and that's verse 13. It says, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends." And it's maybe important to first realize who we were before we were friends. And James talks about the fact that friendship with the world makes you an enemy of God. You choose to be an enemy of God. And the incredible thing in this verse in John is that Jesus, whilst we were still enemies, chooses, like an act of friendship, to lay down his life. And John is here saying, or Jesus is saying, this is the ultimate act of friendship. And so one of the things about friendship with God is it's so hard to compare it to human friendship, because we don't know this kind of friendship where someone who I've declared as my enemy then comes and dies for me. And that is an act of friendship, which is just incredible. And then the following verse says, "You are my friends if you do whatever I command you." And again, this feels so contradictory to what we see friendship as. Like, what friendship do you have on earth where your friend commands you to do something, and whether you do it or not dictates whether you are a friend or not? And I think it's important to go back to yesterday's teaching even, or encouragement on being a slave, and say that's in a sense the entrance into friendship with God. Saying like, Jesus, I see the sacrifice that you've made for me as a friend, and I can't not be your servant, your slave. And as a slave, you obey every single command. And in that act of obeying, you become a friend of God. So it's an ever-increasing thing. Being a child of God is He's chosen you, and that's your possession. But then being a friend of God is almost like an ever-growing thing. As you obey, as you walk this out in obedience. And then the following verse says, "No longer do I call you servants, for a servant doesn't know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends. For all things I heard from my Father, I've made known to you." And even though He doesn't call us servants, we still maintain that position. But now He calls us friends as we obey Him. And the incredible thing is, He says to His disciples and to us, that what the Father has made known to Him, He makes known to us. There are no secrets, no ulterior motives. The intimacy and the closeness of Jesus as a friend is available to each of us as we obey Him, as we do everything He says. We walk into the fullness of that friendship with God and with Jesus, which is just an incredible privilege.
So I think I just want to share a little bit of a personal testimony, actually, where Eugene is talking about how obedience is, in a sense, the entryway into friendship with God. I think it still requires almost, or as well, something in our own hearts. So it's possible to be obedient to God, but still not experience that friendship because of our own fears or our own perceptions, or just continuing to shrink back from that closeness with God. And I began to realize many years ago that I could accept that God had saved me and accept that He had chosen to die for me. In a sense, accept that for God so loves the world, but not that God actually wanted to be my friend, or God actually liked me. And really it was a process of many months of having to make choices in my own understanding and choose to believe the word of God, that He wants to draw near to me, or that He wants to call me a friend. And I really actually had to avail myself, in the same way that you can't be a friend with someone if you don't spend time with them. Spend time with the Lord, just sitting, choosing, think, God, I want to experience you as a friend. I want to know that closeness. I think the relationship between Jesus and John was just something that so stood out to me, and I was just saying, Lord, I want to be able to be as close to you as that, where it talks about how John rested on the bosom of Jesus. And I just thought, to have that closeness, which is available to us, but I knew I hadn't experienced it. And I think because the Lord, because He does love us, and because He wants to be our friend, He answers when we cry out like that. And that was my experience. That it took a long time, but I know and have experienced Him from then as a close friend, and one who draws near to us. but it is written, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. So we do have to take that step and choose, and then experience him drawing near to us as a friend.
And so today, may you experience the closeness, the intimacy, the friendship of Jesus with you moment by moment. As you walk in obedience and you grow in friendship, may the beauty of that overwhelm you. And we trust that going forward, you would be a child of God experiencing the love of the Father, a slave obeying the Master, and a friend of Jesus experiencing the intimacy of your friend. Bless you, friends.